Okay, so our first stop is going to be in Illustrator. So here's my finished design. My area around my design is white. Don't worry about it. It's still a file. There's still an artboard there, etc. And what we want to do whenever we have Illustrator work and we want to submit it, we want to hand it off to someone else. Maybe they're going to be continuing to work on it, maybe not. Or maybe you just want to archive things so you can open it up later and make adjustments. Yay stuff. We want to do something that's called packaging. Now, packaging used to be a function that was only available in InDesign. And what packaging does, well, you know what? The best way to find out what packaging does is to go ahead and do it. We're going to go to File, Package. It's just that simple. And then you're going to take a look at the information that it is giving you. All right. The first option is copy links. Now, what are links? Hyperlinks? No. They're any images that you may have placed into your InDesign work. In this case, no one should have bitmap images. This should be a pure vector file, but we just keep that selected. All right. Copy fonts used in the document. At this point, we certainly appreciate how important our font choices are. So it's really important that we have a copy of those fonts. Again, if you want to continue work on this later, maybe on a different computer in a whole different year, you need to send it off to someone and they might need to do some editing or changes. So now we have a copy of any placed images. We have a copy of all our fonts. Therefore, we have everything that is necessary for someone to be able to open up this file and edit it, assuming that they have Illustrator. All right, and don't worry about the report. We always keep it selected. Would not worry about that very much. Take note of where you're saving it to. I'm going to recommend that you click on that little folder icon and save it right into the project folder. And I have one here. I'm going to choose to save it into my project folder. And then I click Package. You'll always see this little warning. Click OK. And then we can show package. And that is the result of this for my file. And you're probably going to see something a little different. I converted all my text to outlines. I don't have a copy of any of the fonts that I used. I don't have any bitmap images. Neither should you. But you're probably going to see at least a copy of your Illustrator file. And it's just a copy. Your original is where it was when you first opened up the file. And any fonts that you used in the document. All in a nice tidy little folder. And that's it. That's how you package an InDesign file. Easy. Next thing I want to show you, because I think a lot of people haven't done this before, is now I have my artwork completed. I've got that Illustrator artwork packaged up, which is great, because when you hand that in to me, if your design gets selected, I might need to make a few little tweaks before I print it out. But now I have all the materials available, so I can do that. Right? Makes sense? So the next thing we're going to look at, and again, all very quick, very simple, is we are going to scamper over to Photoshop. Now, I don't expect you to do this at the same time as me. And it's so simple, I really don't think you have to play along. So here's our template, your artwork here. And what I want to do is I want to make it look like my design is actually on a banner stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to place embedded. So I'm using the place command so I can place the artwork directly into this already open document. I'm going to find my banner artwork and notice it's in AI format. I don't have to save it as anything before I do this. So I select my AI file with my artwork in it and I click place. All right. Now, the document that I'm trying to access has more than one artboard, which is very common when you're working with Illustrator, you're trying different things. Maybe you have more than one design you want to submit. So what this allows me to do, right, select page, that's highlighted by default, and I want to use what's on artboard number 2. I click OK. I take a moment to appreciate the little spinning wheel of color. And eventually, this happens. All right. So currently, this is in a scalable state right off the hop. And I believe a first good step would be to hold your shift key, like we always do when we're using a transformation command or the scale command. And I'm going to scale it down so that the right edge of my design comes pretty close to measuring the same length as the right edge of the mock-up. Now, if it's hard for you to see what's going on, remember that you can always change your layer opacity so you can make it a little see-through, and you can always zoom in just to make sure you've got the measurements as close to right as you can, and it'll just save you time later on. Once I'm happy with the size, I press enter to say, yeah, enter in that change. Or I try to. Oh yes, so I'm going to place the file. There we go. So far so good. All we've done is we've used the place command. But wait, there's more. Whenever you use the place command, you're always creating what's called a smart object or a smart layer. And to do the next step, we want to make it a dumb layer, not a smart layer. And you'll always know if something's a smart layer if it's not letting you edit and it's beeping at you and giving you this little warning. All right, there's this funny little icon in the bottom of the thumbnail for that layer. Now that lets me know it's a smart object. So to make it dumb, remember we're dealing with layers, so we're going to go to the layer menu. We're going to go to rasterize, smart object. Once I do that, now it's just a layer, and now I can go on to the next step. So my next step, this is the simplest, and this is where the illusion comes to life. And I'm going to keep my layer opacity a little see-through, so it's easier for me to line things up. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Distort. And right now it looks just as if I had initiated a transformation command. And in fact, distortion is a transformation, but this one's different because what it allows me to do is click on corners. And you can see how if I click and drag around, you can see it kind of warping and distorting. And so all we need to do is make sure that our corners of our artwork line up with the corners of the mock-up. And then I move on to my next corner. And I just click and drag that little corner so it lines up. And I'm just going to bump this over just a titch because I can still see orange showing through. And then I'm going to press enter to enter in that change. And now I'm going to return my layer opacity back to 100% and zoom out a titch. And then I would save. Pretty simple. So now, notice how I have everything all queued up. Now I'm in InDesign. This is a picture that has been placed into InDesign. You can simply replace this image with yours. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click to select, and you should be able to see handles appearing, a little blue outline around this picture container. And all I'm going to do is go to my File menu and find Place. I always use the key command for this because I do it all the time, Command D, but we're going to File, Place, and then I'm going to find the file that I want to place, and I know that I'm saving all of my information into the project folder, and I am looking for this, right? And I just select the file once, and I'm just pressing my spacebar just so I can make sure, is that the correct image? Yes, it is. So I've confirmed it's the correct image, and then I just click Open. Boom. Now I've just replaced the image. It fits perfectly. I don't have to change anything, except a lot of people will introduce an image into InDesign or start to work with pictures in InDesign, and they go, oh, it killed my image. What's wrong? This doesn't look right. Everything is fine. If I go to my View menu and I select and I go to Display Performance, right now it's set by default to typical display. So this is just something that it defaults to make sure that your work doesn't get slowed down, but I can switch it from typical to high quality, and you'll see all that image quality snap back. So I've made a change. I'm going to press Command S to save. And then the creative rationale This is just in a slightly pre-formatted, for your convenience, text container. All right, this doesn't need to change, but all this other text, it's referred to as placeholder text, or it's also called lorem ipsum. And it looks like a lot of garbly-goof or nonsense, or maybe looks like Latin, and there's lots of debate, believe it or not, out there about, is it really Latin? Does it really say anything? It really doesn't matter. All it is just placeholder text, so you can make design decisions without the actual copy you're going to use. And of course, this is a perfect example because I don't know what you're going to write. So all you need to do is select the existing text and start typing. Hopefully better than I am today. Right? La la la, da, 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 type, 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 type. And as you type, you'll notice that the text container is filling up from the bottom up. And I did that on purpose because I really wanted that block of copy to be aligned to the bottom part of that layout. So I actually asked the text container to align the copy to the bottom. So it's acting like it should be acting, even though you rarely see text containers acting like that in real life. So far, so good. Everyone can type, maybe not quickly. Once you've done that, you're going to save. And then we're going to do two things with this InDesign file. One is to print it out nice and big, and the other is to save out a PDF. PDFs are simple. We go to File, Adobe PDF Presets. You're going to select High Quality Print. I'm saving it into my project folder. I'm going to append the name so I don't get it confused with all the generic material that's in there. And I click Save. I only have one page. I don't have to make any choices. I click Export. And sometimes it takes a while for it to cook that PDF, but usually it's pretty fast. And there is a little option, that export dialog box, view PDF after exporting. So that's why mine is opening up automatically in Acrobat. And I always like to do that to make sure everything's looking okay. Boom, done, PDF complete. Oh no, I'm going to quit Acrobat because I have a dangerous amount of applications open right now. And the last step is to print. So we go to File, Print. And printing's pretty simple, but in this classroom, there's just a couple of things you need to watch out for. All right, so there are two printers. One starts, it's room 207C925, and the other one is 207CS720. We can all agree that 9 is a bigger number than 7. Yes. The big printer that allows you to print big paper is the bigger number. So we set it for the big printer, the C925. We're going to go to Setup. And here where it says paper size, never allow it to be defined by driver. You're always taking control of that situation. So I'm going to select tabloid. And because the document size is tabloid, I don't have anything else to worry about. And then I click print. And that's it. Those are all the steps.